Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots, your daily guide to the tech world and how it shapes your life. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan. It is Monday, August 4th, 2025. And our mission, like always, is really to unpack the news that matters to you.
Yeah.
Cut through that noise, get to the core insights.
Exactly. We take the sources you give us, we distill them, and we try to bring you those, vital nuggets you need to stay informed and, frankly, ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into today's stories, let's do a quick glance around. Nationally, we're still tracking that wildfire smoke. It's persisting from the upper Midwest clear over to the Northeast, so air quality alerts still up.
Yeah, definitely something to watch. And out west, especially across the Four Corners region, into the Great Basin, the Rockies, dangerous heat, high fire weather concerns, those remain.
Wow.
Then, flip side, the Southeast. They're looking at heavy rain, potential flash floods. And the Southern Plains could see some pretty strong thunderstorms, maybe severe wind, large hail. So quite a mix across the country.
Definitely quite a mix.
Oh.
But here in beautiful Sacramento, a perfect 90 degrees and sunny, you really can't beat that for a Monday.
No, you can't. A nice little pocket of calm. Good for us.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the broader picture, the markets had kind of a mixed close today. Dow Jones, S&P 500, both up slightly for the day.
Okay.
But it's worth noting they're still down for the week overall.
Well, yeah.
Reflects a bit of that, choppiness we've seen.
Right. And Bitcoin also saw a small bump today.
It did, yeah. Small uptick. But similar story, like the indices, it's down overall since last Monday.
Okay, so a little bit of recovery today, but the weekly trend still showing some, interesting movement. We'll keep an eye on it.
Absolutely. Always reminds us, daily moves are just part of that bigger story.
For sure. Okay, so now on a much, much happier note, as loyal members of the Orange and Black Faithful, we have to celebrate our San Francisco Giants.
Yes.
They absolutely crushed the New York Mets yesterday, August 3rd, final score, 12-4.
What a game. Just fantastic. Carson Wiesenhunt gets the win, and Jung-Hoo Lee is just on fire. Went 4 for 4. That's the kind of performance that just makes you smile.
Yeah, it really is. Stellar showing all around. Always great to see them roar that kind of energy.
Definitely.
All right, now let's pivot from the ball field to the digital world because it is time for our Morning Star report.
We've got 3 pretty impactful tech stories today. Really going to break these down for you.
Okay.
And our first one dives right into the very dynamic world of cryptocurrency, specifically about a company called Bullish. They're making a pretty big move.
That's right, Bullish. Crypto exchange, also the parent company of CoinDesk. Maybe you've heard of them. They're set to go public right here in the U.S.
Big step.
Huge step. Planning a listing on the New York Stock Exchange, ticker BLSH. And this isn't just, another tech IPO. They're looking to sell over 20 million shares. Price range up to $31 each.
Wow.
Yeah, aiming to raise nearly $630 million, which, get this, could value the company at over $4.2 billion.
That's serious money. And what's really fascinating here is the scale, right? And the implications. Bullish, they're headquartered in the Cayman Islands, technically.
Yeah.
And they run this big institutional trading platform, handles spot trading, derivatives, liquidity services, the whole 9 yards for big players.
Right.
Now, financials are interesting. They reported $80 million net income in 2024, had over $1.9 billion in liquid assets. Solid numbers. But, and this is crucial, it really shows the volatility in crypto. They swung from $104.8 million profit in Q1 2024
Okay.
to a $349 million loss in Q1 2025.
Whoa. That's a massive swing. It really underscores just how wild this market can be.
Exactly. But despite that, they've still processed over $1.25 trillion in trading volume since they started.
Incredible volume.
Yeah. And they've got some serious backers. Peter Thiel, the billionaire. No more Mike Novogratz, big crypto guy.
Heavy hitters.
Definitely. And their CEO, Tom Farley. He's a Wall Street veteran. Former president of the NYSE, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. That definitely brings a certain air of, traditional finance legitimacy, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And this, I think, is where we get to the deeper insight for you. This IPO isn't just Bullish raising cash. It's kind of a pivotal moment. It's forcing traditional financial institutions to really confront crypto, not as some fringe thing, but as a legitimate, maybe even regulated player. This could fundamentally reshape who controls capital flows in this digital age. It's a clear signal that confidence is growing in digital assets, at least in the public markets. It attracts those big institutional investors, the ones who maybe sat on the sidelines before.
So it's less about just this one company going public and more about a bigger shift, like a tectonic plate moving in how major finance sees crypto.
Precisely. You hit the nail on the head. And we're seeing this as a broader trend, right? Think about Circle, the stablecoin issuer. Their stock went up like 7-fold after their IPO back in June.
Right, I remember that.
And Gemini. They filed confidentially for their IPO in June, too. Galaxy Digital just moved their listing to NASDAQ. It's not a one-off. It feels like a wave.
Yeah, it does. And it seems like a crucial piece of this puzzle is the regulatory environment maybe starting to catch up a bit. You mentioned President Trump recently signed the Genius Act, establishing minimum protections for stablecoins.
Exactly. That sounds like it lays more groundwork for mainstream adoption, right?
It does. That act is pretty widely seen as a significant step, towards more transparent regulation in crypto. Bullish is definitely aiming to capitalize on that momentum, leveraging their IPO to grow, attract more institutional players, and having those big names backing them adds that layer of credibility, So for you, if you're a working professional in finance or tech, this isn't just news. It's a clear sign the landscape is maturing. Digital assets are demanding strategic integration, and for everyday users, well, it hints at crypto becoming more accessible, maybe more secure, opening up new ways to invest or use digital transactions.
It really is a monumental shift happening. Okay, so from that world of finance, let's pivot. Let's talk about something that impacts pretty much every business, especially if you have remote workers.
Okay.
Our next story comes from CrowdStrike's 2025 threat hunting report. And honestly, it's pretty alarming.
Alarming how?
Well, what's really unsettling is the sheer scale and, frankly, the sophistication of this threat. CrowdStrike found over 320 incidents just in the last year, where North Koreans fraudulently got remote IT jobs at Western companies. That's a 220% increase.
220%? And how are they doing this?
It's not just like sending a fake resume.
Yeah.
They're using completely false identities, expertly crafted resumes, and even AI-powered deepfakes for the interviews.
Deepfakes for job interviews? Seriously?
Seriously, to secure these positions.
So this isn't just about someone trying to get a job under false pretenses. This sounds like a planned operation.
Exactly. It seems to have dual objectives. First, generate cash, illicit funds for North Korea's sanctioned weapons program. They've apparently already made billions this way.
Billions?
Yeah. And second, once they're inside the company, they get access. They can steal sensitive data, often used for extortion later.
That's terrifying.
It is. And the estimate is that thousands of North Korean IT workers might be currently employed by U.S. companies who have no idea. CrowdStrike even has an internal name for this group, Famous Chalima.
Famous Chalima. Wow. So this raises a huge question about the new frontier of cyber warfare, right? It's not just hacking systems from the outside.
Exactly. Beyond the immediate data threat, this report shows a really low-cost, high-yield human vector attack. It exploits the very thing we've embraced, the globalized remote workforce.
It fundamentally challenges our trust in who people say they are online.
Completely. Now, the U.S. Department of Justice is working to disrupt these operations. They're targeting facilitators here in the U.S., so these so-called laptop farms.
Laptop farms? What are those?
Imagine racks of laptops, each one pretending to be a different employee at a different company, all run by the same handlers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In one case, they found an operation that stole 80 U.S. identities, used them to get jobs at over 100 different companies between 2021 and 2024.
That is like a corporate catfish situation on an industrial state-sponsored scale with huge national security implications.
Yeah.
This just highlights a massive cybersecurity risk for businesses big and small. Directly threatens their data, their finances. It means companies, they have to drastically rethink hiring, right? Especially for remote roles, need much more robust ID checks.
Absolutely. It shows the lengths these adversaries will go to. And it also really underscores the double-edged sword of generative AI.
How so?
These advanced threat actors, they're using AI to create incredibly convincing fake identities, fake appearances for video calls. It speeds up their operations, makes them much more effective.
Right. So for business owners, HR folks, really anyone interacting digitally, this is a stark reminder. Cyber threats are constantly evolving, getting more sophisticated. It's not just about firewalls anymore.
No. It's about meticulously vetting the people you let into your digital house, basically, no matter how legitimate they seem online.
It's truly unsettling. Like something out of a spy movie, but it's happening right now in virtual offices everywhere. Okay, let's shift gears one more time to a story that probably hits close to home for a lot of us who grew up with public broadcasting.
Yeah, this is significant news. We're reporting today that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CPB, is shutting down after nearly 60 years.
Wow, 60 years. Why? What happened?
Well, the core reason is funding. They lost almost $500 million in federal funding. Congress actually clawed it back in a vote on July 17th.
$500 million pulled back. That's huge. That marks a really significant moment for American media, doesn't it?
It really does. CPB President Patricia Harrison, she confirmed that most staff will be let go by September 30th. A small transition team stays until January 2026 just to handle the orderly closure. She thanked people for trying to save the funding, but acknowledged, this is the reality now.
Yeah. To really get the impact, we should probably remember what CPB was set up to do, right? Back in 1967.
Good point. Yeah, Congress created it back then really to address concerns about commercial media, specifically to help underserved communities. Think rural areas, places where commercial outlets might not invest much in local news, and of course providing educational opportunities.
Right. Sesame Street, Masterpiece Theater, NPR News, all came through that system in some way. And it wasn't just federal money, was it?
No, not at all. Public broadcasting here has always had this kind of mixed funding model. Federal dollars, yes, but also local funds, corporate sponsorships, and importantly, those viewer contributions. The pledge drives.
Right, the tote bags.
Yeah.
So what does this mean practically? Does my local PBS or NPR station just disappear?
Not necessarily disappear overnight. Your local public TV or radio station might still exist, but they'll likely be in a significantly diminished form, especially those crucial rural stations, the ones that really depended heavily on CPB funds to operate. They'll be hit hardest.
That raises a fundamental question, then, about access to diverse information, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in those areas where local journalism really relied on this public funding stream.
It does. Now, regarding why the funding was cut, well, came after discussions and claims about perceived bias, particularly points raised by Republican lawmakers and the former president regarding conservative viewpoints.
Okay.
CPB, for its part, has always countered that by emphasizing its value as a trusted, nonpartisan institution, for education, emergency alerts, promoting civil discourse, cultural connection, things like that.
And we've seen public reactions, right? People gathering in places like Spokane to show support.
Yeah, definitely seen some local pushback and support.
Still, it's a massive shift for the future of non-commercial educational cultural programming in the U.S. For families, it could mean changes to the educational shows maybe their kids watch or that they grew up with. For communities, it impacts local news availability, those public service announcements, even emergency alerts you mentioned.
Yeah, CBB played a role in the emergency alert system too.
Right. So ultimately, it kind of sparks this much bigger conversation, doesn't it, about the role of government in supporting media at all, and what this means for the future of shared information in our society.
It truly leaves a void. And the question of how those essential services, everything from early childhood education to critical emergency warnings, how those get filled now, that's a significant challenge for communities all over the country.
Wow. What a set of stories we've unpacked today, really covering a lot of ground.
You did?
We started with that bullish IPO, showing how it's maybe less about just one crypto company and more a sign of this fundamental shift, forcing traditional finance to grapple with digital assets, potentially reshaping capital flows.
Right. Then we dove into that really alarming CrowdStrike report, the North Korean IT worker infiltration. A stark reminder that cyber warfare is now targeting the human element of our remote workforce. Really challenges our basic trust in digital identities, demands way better vetting.
Seriously. And finally, we discussed the sad news about the Corporation for Public Broadcasting shutting down, highlighting those deep implications for access to information, the future of public media, and the role of trusted news and educational content, especially in underserved communities.
Yeah. Each of these stories, they really connect back to your investments, maybe your company's security, your access to information, things in your daily life.
We hope we've helped you kind of piece together the larger implications of today's really crucial tech and current events.
Definitely trying to connect those dots for you.
As we look ahead, these stories together, they make me wonder, are we maybe entering an era where trust itself, whether it's trust in our financial markets, our digital identities, or our public sources of information, becomes not just valuable, but maybe our most vulnerable asset.
That's a provocative thought.
Something to consider as you go about your week. We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.